Is it working?
I can hear you. Can't see you.
Cool. Give me a sec.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, we're recording as well.
Okay, cool.
Whoa. Technology.
Right. Why is it not working?
We're going for the big reveal. Where's
the big reveal? You never guess where I am. You're going to love this.
DP Building Supply.
How did you know?
How did you get inside if you broke it in?
I'm in Lamborghini.
Oh!
This is the Lamborghini shop. Look, there's a dog on the floor.
Awesome. Oh, I wonder if they've got those boots in a size 10. Can you have a look, see what size they are, Matt?
They've got everything.
But you can't see that over your shoulder. Over shoulder. That's it. The brown ones. Oh, next one along. That's it. Yeah. What size are they?
They're definitely a 10 if you want them.
Oh, wicked. Awesome. Okay, well, should we see what happens? We'll give it half an hour and then we're good to go. Yeah?
Yeah.
Wicked. Okay, so here I am with Matt Price from Sursum Tattoo, Narberth, and this is the first in hopefully what's going to be a record of what's happening in Pembrokeshire with tattoo community in 2021. The 2021 lockdown, and we shall wait and see what happens. So first of all, I worked with Matt. Worked with Matt for 3 years. It's about 3 years.
It's about 3 years now. Yeah,
3 years in February. And we started off working together, not in the shop in Market Square in Narberth, but we were working somewhere different then. Perhaps. Yeah,
we were in Kilgetty Farm then. We were at a log cabin kind of thing that I made. So we started out there. That's where I started out, and then you come and join me later on, didn't you? And that was in 2013.
Was right? I can't remember the dates, but it was a bit more than a log cabin, wasn't it? It was.
It was a refrigeration lorry that was originally like a Formula One catering lorry that was taken around Europe, and then it was somehow given to my ex-father-in-law, or he paid for it, got it, and then he was going to make a smokery out of it, and then he was too lazy. So he was like, why didn't he put the studio in here? And I was like, all right, okay, cool. But I believe now that it is an actual smokery again.
Oh, is he sort of converted it back into a...
Well, her brother's converted it into a smokery, I think. I'm not sure.
Right, yeah. But
I'm not really...
I
don't really know.
Describe it to people. It was basically like the back of a lorry, and you had to go up a set of stairs.
Yeah.
Through like the front door. You'd put in like
we put in like patio doors and windows and stuff, and then we cladded the front with like timber, so it looked like really it just looked like a little hut. But it was we put a roof and everything on there. There was obviously it was a fully functioning studio and was registered with the council and stuff, and also awesome. And everything. It was amazing. Apart from when it was very, very cold and the pipes froze once.
that was
we couldn't tattoo. That was quite fun.
Hopefully that won't be repeated. No. And we sort of joked, haven't we, that it in theory, once you'd unplugged the water or what have you, it could just be like driven off and
taken wherever. There was that theory of what we could have done with it and serviced the underneath of it, the wheels and all, and then taken it to different places. But the practicality of that is insane. So
But it was fully functional, all sorted by them. The council had been in there no end of times. They checked it out. They were very happy with the way things were going. Never had any complaints, and it was spot on, wasn't it? It was really good.
And then it served a purpose for me to get to where I wanted to be, and obviously the end goal was for me to have a shop, and that's where we're at now, isn't it?
Yeah. So how? So we ended up in the shop in Market Square in was it about 2
August.
years ago?
Yeah, it was August, bank holiday. Just after bank holiday, we got our license there, and that was. I was literally walking past the shop, and I was like, oh, who's got that shop now? Because the record shop had closed down, and it was actually called what was the name of it? Can you remember?
Drop
the Needle, wasn't it? Yeah, Drop the Needle, which is quite ironic. And then, as Narberth goes, I found out who the landlady was via Facebook. I was like, who's got this shop? I want to rent it. By the Sunday, I'd had the details. By the Monday, me and you went over there, and then put a structure into place. And then we'd had the license within a week, wouldn't it? I think it was a week and a half. It was it was 11-day turnaround to move the one studio from one place to another.
Yeah, I mean, you did a massive amount of work, and you had a lot of support from
the boys just come in, didn't they?
Jenks was there, and
Hoggle,
the
Seb,
work.
Yeah. Chris and Chris Owen, like all those boys just come in and just completely smashed it with me. Painting till like 3 o'clock in the morning, then getting up at 8 o'clock and then tattooing for the day, and then going back over to the other studio and painting and putting stuff up. And me and you were putting stuff up on the walls and just getting it to look half decent, wasn't it?
You had a massive amount of help from all your friends, clients, and anyone that was wishing you sort of all the best. And it was a really sort of successful move in that you'd come out of the shed.
Yeah, come out of the shed in a bad situation, really. Obviously, it was a divorce, wasn't it? And I left the house and left everything, and it was kind of like, I think there was like the boot from my mates that was like, "Come on, you got this," and it was like it was really nice and really humbling to know that you've got your real good mates around to help you out. Like,
so how it was? Maybe you could describe like the shop layout then.
So the shop layout in the old place, the new shop,
Market Square.
So Market Square, at the minute we've got upstairs and a downstairs. The upstairs, the layout for upstairs, we've got room for 3 tattooists, and we've got a reception desk. There's also like a little corridor where there's like a place for us to have a sandwich if we need to, or like there's a little toilet downstairs. But there's another section to it, which is just sort of around the corner in 2 different ways. And we can get downstairs to our basement where we've got room for another 2 to 3, 3 tattooists at least. And that's got obviously our autoclave area. And there's like sinks and stuff, and there's a kettle down there as well if we need it. Obviously a toilet down there. So that's where we're at the minute.
And that was the downstairs that happened during the
fire break lockdown
at the end of 2020. So again, you had a whole load of support from clients. Work took place, and that was established. But prior to that, it was just the upstairs, wasn't it? So there was myself, yourself, and
Mass, wasn't it? First, wasn't it?
Appeared in, when was that?
In May 2019, Mass appeared. Yeah. And then he kind of, at the time there was only room for 2 artists, and he turned up and was like, right, have you got room for me? And I was like, well, I'll make room. I'll get rid of the bigger sinks, put smaller sinks in, so we'll have room. And then we had enough room for 3 people at the push. And then we ended up like, I wasn't there all the time, you wasn't there all the time, and Mass wasn't there all the time. So we'd like alternate weekends and stuff. And, there's enough space for 3 of us tattooing all the time, but it was just, you kind of, you kind of want a bit more space when you're tattooing. So then, obviously, after coming into Mass after we did one of the first lockdowns, Mass decided that he wanted to be going home, when he set a date for going back to Poland. So I was like, right, if we get an apprentice in now, they'll learn off the three, off me, you, and Mass. So that's what we did. We got tricks in, and then I thought about taking downstairs on. So we took downstairs on, and then advertised for an artist, and then Jodie's obviously come on board with us as well from Hidden Jewel.
Yeah. So we are now yourself, myself, Trix, and Jodie.
Jodie, yeah.
4, isn't it?
There's 4 of us now, yeah.
There is potential and space for
another 2 or 3.
Yeah.
If we need it.
Yeah.
You know, there could be, but I'm quite happy being the way we are for a bit, and you know, just plodding along.
Yeah. So
if the right person comes along and wants to work with us, then that's cool with me. But
yeah, I mean, depending you never know sort of what happens, do you? No. And we put things out online, and you know, sort of, and so people see things, and you know, maybe I don't know whether this conversation's actually going to be sort of put online at all, or what have you. But if someone does hear this, then how would people get in touch?
Just give us a message.
I mean,
yeah. Well, it just be on Instagram. I think we are going to put a post up when everything's a bit more settled and everything's gone down a bit, and you know, we've healed up from COVID a bit more. Because I think that's the most important part now, is just getting through this final push of this, and making sure that we're all, you know, like, all us 4 are going back to work first of all before we take on anybody else and take any sort of But you know, if there are people out there that would have lost their shop or whatever, they would be more than welcome to come with us for a bit and then go back to going to their own shop, or you know, it wouldn't be an issue for us. We could help them if need be. It's not a big because at the end of the day, we're going to learn from those people and they're going to learn from us. So.
Yeah. So so you mentioned like sort of getting back to normal. You've got a long waiting list. You've got a lot of clients that are keen to sort of have work done from you. I always find, like, with these sort of periods of like lockdowns, when we're not actually working, I always find that when I get back, I'm certainly refreshed and keen to sort of get back into it. Is there, other than, you know, just sort of getting back to normal and just going through the normal process, is there anything that you're sort of keen to develop from your own sort of artistic style?
I think I'm just going to keep pushing what I'm doing, what I have been doing. I'm doing a lot more traditional stuff, and I'm doing a lot more like geometry work. And it just seems to fall in my lap with what people sort of discover with me now. Right. I can do a lot more different styles, but like obviously with yourself, you're progressing loads within what you do, with like the tribal aspect and the Polynesian, and you're just absolutely smashing that. And then so I'm not really doing as much as that anymore. Then we've got Trix, who's doing like the smaller black stuff, and Jodie's going into doing all the realism. So for me, it's like, it's kind of working out perfect, you know, within our shop. And it's not, there's no, I used to find it a bit overwhelming with like what I'd be taking on and what I didn't want to do, but I have to do to keep face and keep the shop going, or not keep the shop going, but keep that reputation up.
Yeah. So that was, so early, because how long have you been tattooing now?
It was November the 1st, 2013, I got my license. So this is my 7th year of tattooing.
7 years. So when we start off, we quite often find that, you know, which is good, you know, we're doing a bit of this, we're doing a bit of that, and, you know, sort of like covering all the bases, and, you know, learning as we go along. This is how I do it. This is how I do that. And also, we have to take on things for sometimes financial reasons. Yeah. And we learn from each one of those things. Whereas after 7 years, you're very accomplished, with your lines and your knowledge of, like, say, for instance, a whole load of subjects, say, for instance, whether it's like different Japanese things, what they mean, or like old school things, like the sort of, this means this and this means that, something which I know very little about. And so that allows you a little bit more freedom in what you can choose, or not necessarily choose, but how you can sort of direct what you want to do. So have you so is it like the old school stuff that you're sort of more
I think
to get into?
I think I'm progressing more in that sense. Like going into more traditional stuff. My style, like, I love using a coil machine. Like, I dropped into work yesterday to do recycling and tuned all my coils in yesterday. I was like, adjusted everything. I'm like ready. They're ready to go now. I have got like, I am using the wireless machine now for shading and stuff a lot more, and color packing. And I got the anvil as well, and the rotary work stuff. But I do like changing things up for different styles. Like if I'm doing like mandala work, I don't necessarily need a coil machine unless I'm pulling, bigger lines in. And I think over the years I've always thought, I'm just going to use a coil machine and I'm going to use a rotary every time I've tattooed. And that's changing, like, compared to what setup that I've got for each particular tattoo, which I'm finding I'm sort of discovering a bit more.
About what is possible with each kind of machine, or what you can sort of do with those machines.
What you can get out of different machines. I find like the wireless is like severely soft hitting. And then you get lots of smooth shades out of it. And then same with like the anvil, you can, if you want to get smooth out of it, but it's really good for color packing. And then you've got like the coil machines. Obviously, I've tampered around with myself, so I've got about 10 coil machines that there's about 7 that are working, but I've got loads of, they're like Frankenstein machines. Like I just found the perfect situation, or the perfect thing for each one.
And so we're this sort of situation now where we can sort of put things out into the future, into the universe, into say, right, this is what I want to do afterwards. Whenever afterwards is. What would that
be for me?
What would that dream tattoo look like for you? Say for instance, if a client sort of said, right, I've got my back, I've got through COVID, and I just want I want
you to go mad,
to do something in your style. What would that? I mean, I know it's definitely bold. It's definitely big. It's that, like, it'd be like if someone come in, like I put a status up just before lockdown about, like, if I start a back piece, then I'll give you more of a discount, because I want to start getting into full day sessions. Are great, to be honest. Not a financial element to it, but more of like, you just get into work and you sit down, you concentrate on one thing, and then you go. And like, it's such a nice, it's not like, I've got 2 hours now, I'm going to bang that out, make sure I've done it. And then I've got another 2 hours, so I've got to do this other one. And then I've got an hour at the end of the day to do another small tattoo. Like, it's not that I don't want to do those tattoos. I love doing any sort of tattoo, but the way it goes is like, you want to make sure that you're enjoying work. And if I'm doing a full day of traditional, or I'm doing a full day of Japanese, I'm really enjoying it.
Or if I'm doing a full day of mandalas, I'm really enjoying it.
That I remember the post that you posted, and that was the photo was from Trixie's back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so that was Japanese.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned the three sort of subjects that you've mentioned there. You mentioned Japanese, you mentioned the old school, you mentioned like some sort of and geometry as well.
Yeah.
Which of the if
I had to pick one, which would it be?
What would that dream sort of thing look like? Would it be a mashup between all of those, or?
I think it'd be a tough call between traditional and Japanese.
Right.
I think geometry, I could take it or leave it, not in a bad way, but in like if that sort of disintegrates off the planet, which I don't see it. I like picked magazines up the other day from 2009. And I just have a quick look through, and there was mandala work and geometric work in there. But if it's to a point where I had to choose between the two, I'd probably go down the American traditional or British traditional side, because of Japanese. You've got to know quite a lot about it. I think my knowledge of Japanese, I'm just scraping on the surface.
Right.
Recently buying like books on yokai and stuff, and trying to get my head into the research factors of it, like the difference in dragon claws, doing 3-finger dragon claws to 4. There's different Chinese and Japanese versions of it. Like you can't just. I used to be a person that I just go straight on Pinterest and then work out. That's how a flash sheets. Like I'm gonna get this element from here and this from here, but you really need to start understanding like I want to really start understanding like the Japanese of how it's right, and what flowers go with certain things.
So that might be something that you sort of slowly, or that might be something that you work towards. Whereas right now you're sort of quite happy and really enjoying like bold, traditional American, old school sort of stuff.
Yeah, just basically colour packing, isn't it? Line work, colour packing, and that's us. Yeah, that's me done.
Because you've got links with the US yourself, haven't you? With studios out there. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, that's Amity Irons, like once a year. Obviously, has been cancelled this year. I was speaking to Ian about 2 or 3 days ago. We have a FaceTime now and again just to catch up and see what their situation is compared to ours. And it seems like they're having a lot of rougher time than what we are.
Really?
Really. It's they're not getting like any sort of financial support like we are lucky to, and when he said like if they're asking for taxes and stuff when they know they've been off, and it's a really rough sort of situation out in America by the sounds of it. So,
it's bizarre, isn't it? Because we sort of live in our own little bubbles right now, and unless you sort of make that link elsewhere, you just sort of imagine that it's really bad here, and it is. It's bad here, but maybe, like you say, it's worse elsewhere. Not only is it worse elsewhere, but there's going to be some parts of the world that I just can't imagine
can't come out of it.
They are dealing with it. You know what I mean?
I think we're having it pretty tough, but then if you go online, like an online perspective is completely different to what a personal perspective is. Like, I look at Amity Irons and Ian and all, and I'm like, oh, they're actually knocking work out. We're not even in work. So they're still working.
Okay.
And it's just like if another lockdown hits them, they don't know what's going to go on, and if they a severe lockdown like we've got, if they don't get financial help, so they're just doing what we do in between lockdowns. Like I was speaking to Andy Groves about this a couple of weeks back. It's just like we're off work and then we're just smashing it for ages, and then we're off work again, but we're off work in times where we can't relax, we can't feel like we can go to beaches that we shouldn't be at, or there's no, oh, let's go to a restaurant while we're off work. There's none of that now. It's just work, get in your house, work or get in your house. And it's quite a difficult mentality to work through, I think.
Yeah. I think, like I said to yourself, what I find is any sort of structure is really helpful.
Yeah.
If it's, like a Zoom meeting, for instance, or, even, like cooking a meal. Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
or exercise.
I can do that. I've got something to sort of look forward to. But also, doing, drawing and that creative side, that is, sort of something that I've found time and time again to be helpful, just to sort of give me something to focus on. It might not necessarily see the light of day, but a design or a sketch that you can sort of see develop. That's good.
I really want to develop my painting in this lockdown more than anything.
Yeah, you've done a few.
Yeah, I did 3 since the New Year's hit. I had to relax just after we had the Christmas break from the 21st until about the 4th. I decided not to do any work-related stuff. Mm-hmm. And then from the 4th, I was like, right, I'm going to do a paint in a week. But I've ended up doing 3 in the first week.
Yeah.
I need to slow them down, I think, to get my blends a bit slower and but I think that's part of my process as well. Like, and if I can move that into my slower hand movements into my tattooing from my painting, I think I'll see better work as well. Because that's what I was like towards the end of the last lockdown, I started slowing my hand movements down a lot more. I was speaking to Mass about stuff, and we were discussing like the slower that you get your hands down, the softer it goes in, but somehow it goes in as quick. It's quite, I don't know. That's what I've been sort of working towards,
But so these periods of reflection, if you want to call them that, these lockdowns, there are, if we look for it, we can actually find these little clues or things that will hopefully help us to become sort of better tattooists, even though we're not actually able to
to tattoo.
Put a needle in someone. We can still learn and apply things from that.
We can still be listening to our machines and like the coils and stuff and getting those ready. Like there's no harm in going to work, picking your stuff up and then messing around with it in the house. Not as in tattooing wise, but in more of like understanding the way the logistics of the machine work and tightening things up and maybe changing your springs ready to go back, and that's what I've been doing, and I think that's quite important. That's like part of tattooing, and I think that gets a lot. The more that we go into a realm of wireless machines and rotary machines, the more that we start losing that part of tattooing, I think, which is really important, like the maintenance side of it. If we're just being able to buy a machine that could just do everything that we want straight away, then we're gonna get a lot more people tattooing that don't understand what's gone into the trade,
right?
And like the history of it. And I kind of want to, with my work, I want to be able to be someone that's kept that alive.
Right. Okay. So tradition, you've mentioned that twice, haven't you? You mentioned like Japanese tradition and old school tradition. That's something that's quite important with yourself sort of in your artistic work and also the maintenance of your machines. So that's a traditional sort of thing to do. So I mean, would you say you come from quite a traditional background in
I think
of the world?
Like before tattooing, there was other industries that I was in, and I think I was in such manly sort of stereotypical industries. It's kind of it kind of pushed me to man up a bit, and I know you're not supposed to say that, but it pushed me into being that sort of you know, pushed me into hardening up then, not manning up, hardening up. And, you know, you see guys with old tattoos that they've had them for years, and you just respect what that person's done for them, and you can still see what it is.
Right.
And and there's massive bold lines and structure to these tattoos. And I keep thinking to myself, I want to be someone who in 20 years time, there's people walking around my work on them, and they like in industries are, that guy did that for me, you know, so and still.
Yeah, so that sort of idea of definite distinction, like people can see that, and they recognize it as respectful of tradition, respectful of themselves.
Yeah.
So, bloody hell, I'm trying to think where this is going. So it will be interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that looks like in, you know, say if we have this conversation in a year's time, we could, you know, maybe pull out these like certain images and say that was the back piece that I was talking about. That was the maybe a smaller forearm or something like that, and say that's what those are the themes I was aiming for, you know. It's old school, it's traditional. Like you did a mashup between like a Welsh dragon and an eagle with some and it was dark, wasn't it? It was like, you know, really darkly shaded, but it was I think that was something really like original.
There was something in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it ticked all of those boxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was great to see. And
thanks, mate.
It's all right, mate. And yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think now we've got this opportunity to, as I said, to sort of put stuff out there into the universe, and also, you know, let it sink into people's heads. You know what I mean? You know, so I'm after something like that. It'll be interesting to see what happens anyway, and hopefully we'll be out of this relatively soon. And we'll be able to see. I think
a good sort of thing for us as a studio to look at as well is like now and again to share information of Welsh iconography. Like, you know, whenever we go different places, I know you always take pictures of like certain parts of like churches and stuff, and you include that within. You did Manorbier Castle at one point, didn't you? You put that onto Jenks's arm, you know, and there's different, you know, things that we'll find in different areas of Wales that we could link into our tattooing, and, you know, bring some kind of different element towards it, not just think about, you know, where Japanese tattooing is and American traditional tattooing is, to think about where we could take Welsh tattooing, really.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really nice. In that we do exist in Pembrokeshire as a sort of destination place, don't we? Do you know what I mean? Like, people come here from all over the world, and it's very easy just, you know, to sort of take stuff that we see off the internet, off Pinterest, for instance, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. I suppose as an added bonus, if we could make a distinct style that is, that's Pembrokeshire.
Yeah,
that's
Wales.
That's you know, like, you know, that's Matt Price, Sursum. And then that means that you know, we not only are we a destination for going surfing and you know, watching birds, or, you know, seeing seals or whatever. Then also
or DPs.
Yeah. I mean,
there's everything here.
There is, and if you can't get it in Llanboidy, you can get it in Narberth, but you might have to wait a day for the order. There you go.
There's always,
But no, if we can, you know, sort of create a unique style, I think that's definitely something to sort of aim towards.
Without a doubt.
Right, I think we've just about done it. I think this is 12 o'clock. So I've got to start. I've got to get some food on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shortly press stop. I think I can stop and pause recording now.
Yeah.
Press a button. Anyway, so if people want to get in touch with you, it's on.
Yeah, we are Sursum Tattoo on everything, on Instagram and on Facebook. So that's SURSUMTATTOO. I haven't got a personal page for my stuff. If you want to follow us, we've got a locked account because we want an organic following. We don't want just Russian people following us that trying to get their likes up, or, well, I don't know, not just Russians, but people trying to get their likes up and having us follow them back. We don't do that.
No.
So if you want to follow us, but if you don't, then don't.
I'm gonna press the stop recording button. Yeah.
Lovely.